A rough loss for the New York Mets on Sunday as they fell to the Rays 7-6 in 10 innings. New York was swept by Tampa and now has lost 10 of their last 14 games. Let's talk some Mets baseball and look at the week ahead for the team. We're going to do it with the executive producer of podcasts for New York Post Sports. That would be Jake Brown, who joins me now. Jake, what's going on?
Oh, a rough weekend in Mets land, but hey, Knicks in 6, Rangers in 7. It'll all be fine. The rest of the city is doing just great right now.
Okay, but we need the Mets to do, better, to bring up the spirits for you, Jake. I know you're all excited about the Knicks and the Rangers, but you got to get the Mets better for you, too. I want better for you.
Well, it's early. Listen, it's May the 5th be with you. May the 4th be with you. May every day be with you. But may every day not be with the Mets and the ability to let runners steal bases. I've never 7 steals in one day. Are you kidding me? You would think you were at a TJ Maxx. Like all the stealing going on. My parents get so mad. They're like, if it's under $1,000, you can't get prosecuted if you steal under $1,000. My parents get mad at it. Now, everyone's stealing on the Mets, so this must be a trip to Marshall's or TJ Maxx. Sorry, let me get off my soapbox.
Wow. Marshall's and TJ Maxx catching strays here like their security is not good enough. we'll say that. But let's start with this tough loss for the Mets. As a fan for you watching, what was worse, watching the Mets blow the lead in the 9th or the fact that they got the lead back in the top of the 10th only to give it away and lose in the bottom of the inning?
Well, it's tough because the 10th, you have the automatic runner. You have to be incompetent, which the Mets are, to not score. And they did score thanks to, a dropped ball by the first baseman, Yandy Diaz. So they got a little bit lucky. It was just more frustrating in the bottom of the inning. Now, the 9th, Diaz happens. Diaz is human. He's had 2 appearances this week. He gives up the 2-run homer to Morel. He gives up the home run to Randy Rosarina. That happens. You live with it. For the most part, he's usually great. But then the bottom of extra innings, walking Ben Rorvet. I mean, a cast-off from the Yankees, Rortvedt, the guy who was just known for his muscles, walking him and not getting him out is infuriating. And then Jake Diekman. I mean, you got an 0-2 count. Throw something in the dirt. Throw a curve in the dirt. Why are you throwing the ball down the middle of the plate with, a chance to put the guy on or try and get the out? What are you doing there? And then Harrison Bader. You're going an all-out dive when any ball that gets past you loses the game. I respect the effort and, the attempt to try to make a web gem kind of catch, but there's a stronger chance you don't make that catch and it gets away, and that's what happened. Mets probably still end up losing the game, but if you put that in front of you, you're still alive there. So the series of events in the 10th inning pissed me off.
All right, I can tell. I can really, really tell. This has not made you happy at all. Rough weekend for the Mets. But there was one bright spot this weekend for the Mets, Jake, and that was the MLB debut of Christian Scott. What impressed you about Scott's first start as a Met on Saturday?
Yeah, well, unlike Pete Alonso in his home state, Christian Scott performed on Saturday and, in his debut in front of his family, in front of his friends. And what impressed me was that first inning. The guy's got all the nerves in the world. It's his first start. Like I said, friends and family there. You've been waiting for this opportunity. He gives up a single, a double, a single, but then he gets a strikeout, a double play. And you saw a tenacious nature in him and how fired up he was when he did get out of the jam. And then cruising the rest of the way, 6 strikeouts. You saw the off-speed stuff. His fastball has a lot of life on it. You don't see many starting pitchers in the league right now with the life that his fastball had, and I thought that was remarkable. Good mix of pitches, the splitter, the sweeper. He has a good mix of pitches and is going to be a staple in the Mets rotation, and they need him. With Adrian Hauser going to the bullpen now, Adrian Hauser, they said, we can't deal with you giving up 6 runs, 8 runs, 5 runs every start. Christian Scott gets his chance. Senga's starting to throw a little bit. I think Scott looks like he has a good chance to cement himself in the rotation, and boy, do the Mets need it, because Jose Quintana Friday night as well imploded for 8 runs, and they're hoping he bounces back. So good timing for Scott. Unfortunately, per usual, the Mets offense did nothing outside of 1 run, but I think there's a lot of bright side of Christian Scott, and I'm looking forward to seeing him at Citi Field pitch.
Yeah, it was a very impressive start for him, including the fact that he showed a lot of poise, even retiring 11 straight batters at one point in that start on Saturday night. What's your concern level right now with this team, Jake, after getting swept and losing 10 out of 14? What do they need to do to turn things around?
Pete Alonso's got to be the polar bear. He's 2 for his last 36. His at-bats are unwatchable right now. He's got a pop out in the third to kill a rally. Bases loaded, 1 out in the fourth with the Mets up 5-4. Grounded to a double play. You'd rather him strike out in that spot. He is an ultimate rally killer right now. And I don't know if there's something going on behind the scenes or mentally, but Mendoza's got to take charge here and say, you're sitting today. They need to give him a day. And I know he's a player with an ego, and he's usually out there 162 times a year. Well, you got to say, Pete, I'm sorry, you're not playing today. And I think he's got to get his mind right, and sometimes that takes a day. Whether it's Monday or you do it the afternoon game Wednesday, and that gives him 2 days off with the off day on Thursday, he needs a day to get right because he's unwatchable in this lineup right now. And also, JD Martinez, it's early on. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt here. They're making sure his back's okay, but you can't have him sit twice a week. Without Francisco Alvarez, they need JD Martinez's bat. And I hope this is just something early just to get him, get him going and make sure the back's okay. But he's got to be able to play at least 6 times a week. And maybe you get 1 off day a week, but you can't have your DH getting 2 off days a week. He's not playing the field. I know he's older, 37, but he's got to be able to play every day. Omar Narvaez, can you throw anyone out? 30 for 30 against him. The Mets have been terrible controlling base runners, and we thought this was like just an Adam Ottavino thing. It's an overall Mets thing. They're throwing no one out. Everyone is running on them. They're just they're bullying. They're bullying the Mets. I got bullied a little bit freshman year. I got bullied. The Mets got bullied. Shaking hands, we all got bullied. Well, stop getting bullied and man up and stop letting guys run on you. That can't happen. And Jeff McNeil, the leash is getting shorter by the day. I know it's May 5th. I know it's early. But if Jeff McNeil keeps hitting like this, you have to trade him. You have Luis Angel Acuna in the minor leagues, can play his position, and I would call up Acuna sooner rather than later because Jeff McNeil has been terrible and is giving you nothing, and his contract is good enough that another team could take that money. So I'm not saying trade him yet, and I'm not saying trade Pete Alonso right now, but if these guys don't turn it around in the next month by June 1st, and if we're talking at June 1st and they're still stinking up the joint, there's going to be calls made and at least calls received asking what they could do to what they could do to get those guys some prospects or get something back. Sorry, I'm pissed off. I can't even form a sentence right now.
You think? Yeah, you are. You're out here airing all your grievances with the Mets. Want players traded, want them to do better, need them to play more, a lot of things. So
because we're talking about the youth movement that this team has, and these guys got to realize they're replaceable. Like Pete Alonso, maybe the 40 and 120 is not replaceable, but hitting 210 is very replaceable. And playing for and finding a defensive first baseman, like he is replaceable, and he will not get that monster contract if he plays like this. So it's time those two guys stepped up, or they won't be New York Mets in 2025.
Understood. We hear you loud and clear. Last thing for me, Jake, want to look ahead this week because the Mets are going to continue their road trip. They're in St. Louis, and they're back home for a weekend series with the Braves. What are you keeping your eye on with the Mets this week that you hope they can turn things around and not have you as agitated as you are right now about this team?
Well, yeah, I'm keeping an eye to see if Mendoza does what I say and benches Pete Alonso for a day and lets him get his mind right, whatever's going on. Maybe there is something going on at home or something. And if he's got to take care of that, take care of it. Give him the mental day. I want to see that. I want to see Jeff McNeil put together better at bats. I want to see the Mets stop swinging at 0-2 pitches. Jeff McNeil swinging at pitches in the dirt. I said this in the past to you, play more complimentary baseball. Like stop 3-0 swinging, stop 2-0 swing. Take more pitches, move guys over. Like this is it's simple stuff. I mean, I think it's correctable. They're obviously getting guys on. They're loading the bases, no out and a walk. That's unacceptable. And that's all you get, 1 run. Bases loaded, 1 out, double play. Come on. Like you got to be able to get these runners home, hit it the other way, hit it to the outfield, get a sac fly, because they're not losing these games by a lot. Like even Friday, they were getting pounded and they rally. They show they can rally. They show they have the ability to score, put it all together and get it done. And I'd like to see some rebounds here. Jose Quintana, you can't give up 8 runs. He's got to be better. This was the Mets opening day starter with Sang out. He's got to be better. But otherwise, yeah, bats, please, just come alive.
Well, Jake wants the Mets to come alive. We will see if they are able to do that this week. Right now, they're 16 and 18, 2 games below 500. And as I mentioned, they've lost 10 out of their last 14 games. That is Jake Brown, executive producer of podcast for New York Post Sports. Jake, always good talking some Mets baseball with you. I'm going to let you go so you can take your next shopping trip at TJ Maxx or Marshall's.
I will be paying for my purchases there. I will not be stealing. Let's go Rangers. Let's go Knicks. And happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo to you, too. Thank you, my friend.